You know that feeling when you look up at a massive, gleaming city skyline? It's just awe-inspiring. But those buildings aren't just monuments to ambition. They're monuments to something else entirely. These huge, complex financial deals. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how these giants get built.
It's a simple question, right? But the answer is fascinating. Because, let's be real, a developer doesn't just write a check for a billion-dollar tower. No way. The real story here involves this incredibly powerful financial tool that literally shapes the cities we live in. All right, let's get into it.
So, the easiest way to wrap your head around this is to think about a regular home mortgage. You know, the loan you get to buy a house. Now, just imagine that, but on a completely blockbuster scale. Like multiply it by 1,000 or even 10,000. That's what we're talking about here. It's called commercial real estate debt, or CRE debt for short.
Okay, so what exactly is this supersized loan? Let's get a clear definition, because this is literally the financial engine that builds the world we see every day.
So at its most basic level, it's just borrowed money, capital that's used to buy, build, or refinance a commercial property. But here's the thing you really need to get. Real estate firms almost never use only their own cash. Why? Because using debt, well, it's like adding rocket fuel to their business. It lets them take on way bigger projects and grow so much faster than they ever could on their own.
So we know who the lenders are, but what's really at stake here? Because borrowing this kind of money, it's not just some simple transaction. It's more like a high-wire act. You've got this incredible potential for reward on one side and a really terrifying drop on the other.
And let's be crystal clear about this. For a real estate firm, debt is an absolute superpower. There is no other tool that's more effective for taking their own capital and amplifying it to achieve just mind-boggling scale and returns. And this really shows you the two sides of that coin. The power part is obvious, right? Debt lets you control, say, a $100 million building using only a fraction of your own money. That just supercharges your returns. But the peril is just as real. What happens if tenants leave or the whole market takes a nosedive? Well, that massive loan payment, it doesn't just go away. It can become this giant anchor that drags a once profitable property straight to the bottom.
I mean, think about that for a second. A perfectly healthy, cash-flowing property can be turned into a total disaster, practically overnight, if the debt gets out of control. It is a razor's edge, and every single developer and investor has to walk it.
Okay, so we've seen the players, we've seen the massive stakes involved, so what's the big takeaway here? What's the one thing you absolutely have to remember from all this?
It really boils down to this. You simply cannot understand the world of commercial real estate if you don't understand the debt that fuels it. It's that simple. Debt is what dictates what gets built, which projects make it, and which ones completely fall apart. You could even say it's the invisible architecture that holds up the buildings you see every day.
So now we know the lenders, we get the whole power and peril thing, but that just leads to the next big question, doesn't it? What do these deals actually look like? What kinds of loans are these guys making? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down next time. We'll dive into the most common types of debt you'll find out there. Hope you'll join me for that.